We even went down there a couple of times because I knew where I was going down. And you went to Aruba, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And everything was going fine. We got the plans built, and it was going to be right near the jail. And then they changed the government. And the prime minister that was 100% behind this was no longer the prime minister. And there was a liberal government got into Aruba, and there was some kind of a bloody weird cactus that grew only in Aruba on this part of the island. And in with these cactus were, I want to say a three-toed toad. It was something, it was like a frog. It was weird, but only in this part of Aruba. And the new government, like Greenpeace or whatever the shit was, shot it down. Ralph had spent God knows how many millions of dollars. I mean, it must have cost him a fortune to fly the 200 journalists down there for a week. And we all, that's how I went first and foremost. And then I went to a bunch of these. Anyway, short story is, Ralph sued them, they countersued, and they said they wanted to hold the court hearings in America. To this day, I have no idea why an Aruban government would want a court case against a Cuban American built in Aruba. And the court case was going to be in Miami. Short story is, I spent a week down in Miami in federal court. I think I was on the stand like 3 days. And it had to be 94 or 5, somewhere around there. And we won the case. Ralph got awarded, I think, $25 million. I don't know how much he ever collected. But that was in April and May. And for my birthday in June...
Bloody hell.
Mm-hmm.
Just said happy birthday.
Nice gift, huh?
Yes.
I just said, oh, not just. Oh, it's about 18 months ago. I had to have it appraised for the household.
Yeah.
Home was $32,000. I think when he sent it to me, it was like $12,500.
It's got a bit of, like, the coloring.
Well, you probably would be if you hadn't been out of the bloody box for 15
You
years.
get it cleaned.
Huh?
I need to get it cleaned.
Why?
Because it'll keep getting discolored.
No, it'll still get discolored if you don't wear it.
I guess that's true.
And who gave me, no, I've got a Panerai. Who gave me the Panerai?
Don't know.
The what?
Panerai.
Ah.
Italian watch. Cool, my wrist has lost since then, huh?
Winston, no one wants to see you.
Oh,
Liz
just tug on the elephant.
Winston, where's your elephant?
Happy birthday.
I remember a Panerai, but I don't know who.
I do. Now, it just came to me now. Father and son, both raced in Indy Lights. Quintanilla.
Oh.
Rolando and Rodolfo Quintanilla.
Father and son?
Yeah, they both raced at various times.
Winston, my God. Just, there you go. Look at these two now. Winston.
Winston, no.
Come
Go
here.
lay down.
Come here.
Come here, Blue. You want
What's
to
your
lay down?
problem?
Blue, you want to lay down? You wanna lay down?
Somebody gave me that one too. That's the watch I got in 1967 from Penske, from the Can-Am. And they must have been free to Penske because they were champion spark plug.
Doesn't have quite the weight
Oh,
that the
no.
Rolex has.
No.
It doesn't, does it?
No.
Nice story, though.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I don't know where those came from. Those are Porsche cufflinks. I've got no idea where some of this stuff came from now.
Well, these could even be. Don't they sometimes give you things like that when you buy them?
Yeah, but they didn't. It wasn't that. I don't know. Anyway, so then Chris decided he was going to go. Oh no. Chris decided he was not going to do another year with these things blowing up. So at the end of 69, he said, I'm out of here. Well, Gary offered me a job to stay at Ferrari, but there was only one English-speaking guy, and that was Mike Potts, and we weren't close. And then in Modena, the guys I spent most of my time with was a guy named Bruce McIntosh, who now works for the FIA. Do you ever know Bruce? Mm-hmm. Anyway, have you heard of Alf Francis, who was Sterling Moss's mechanic in the 50s and 60s? He was Sterling's mechanic. He lived in Modena, and he and Bruce worked for Count Volpe that owned Serenissima. And so Bruce and Alf and I were the only English-speaking people in Modena in those days. Oh, and what's her name? Wallace. Bob Wallace was a New Zealander who was the first engineer and first thing at Lamborghini. He lived just across the road from Chris and I, so he was around, but hadn't seen Bob for years. He's in Phoenix now. So I went with Chris to March Engineering beginning of 1970, and it just, although I knew Robin Hood from my days with Bruce and that, although I hadn't worked for McLaren, I knew Bruce very, very well, and Robin Hood had been an engineer there with Gordon Coppett and whatever. I just didn't feel comfortable, didn't want to go to March. It looked like it was a hodgepodge operation. And so I'm out of work. I've gone from having a job at Penske, a job at Ford's, and a job at Ferrari to no job at all. And I'd just gone.
Did you go back to England at that point?
I was back in England, with Chris. And we went to March Engineering, and I just didn't think I wanted to go there. It didn't seem, wasn't very interested to me. And I was sitting at home, it must have been February or March 1970, and I got a call one day from from Mike Underwood, who I'd known from his Lotus days. He was at Lotus, I was at Cooper's. And he said, Roger, what are you doing? I said, nothing. He said, would you come and help us? I said, what are you doing? Where are you? He said, I'm in Bourne. Bourne from Crowland was a drive, 25 miles, whatever it was. I said, what are you doing? He said, we're building 2 sports cars for BRM, and we're running behind, and we need some help. I said, yeah, I'll come and help you for a few months till you get rid of them. So I went to Bourne, and there were 6 of us living in a council flat. Bruce McIntosh, me, Mike Underwood, Tim Parnell, George Eaton, I forget who the other was. 6 of us living in a 2-room council flat, building these bloody sports cars for behind. Anyway, short story is, when they got them finished, I thought we'd finish, and they said, would you just come to America for the first 2 or 3 races? Short stories, I did. And I came to America, but it went from just a couple of races to the whole season. So I did the whole of 1970